Over the years, China has unearthed some truly bizarre treasures. We're talking about bones from creatures that even dinosaurs would raise an eyebrow at, and let's not forget about the astonishing discovery of thousand-year-old bodies that still have their skin and flesh intact. It's like stepping into a real-life sci-fi movie. In 1978, the brilliant Professor Yang Xiaolin decided it was time to get to the bottom of these bizarre discoveries. He set up Post 749 in the Kunlun Mountains, forming a special team dedicated to uncovering the secrets behind these extraordinary finds. Picture a group of intrepid explorers, armed with shovels and a thirst for knowledge, ready to tackle the unknown. Fast forward to 1979, where we meet our hero, Hu Bai, one of the many soldiers working tirelessly in the excavation. The work is exhausting, so exhausting that he often collapses from sheer fatigue. But fear not, because Professor Yang's daughter, Yang Ping, is always there to lend a helping hand and boost his spirits. When Hu first met her, it felt like they were old friends, as if they had known each other for ages. Their bond is so strong that it makes Hu's friend, Sung Sun, a tad jealous. One day, after the team retrieves a massive skull from an unknown beast, disaster strikes. The cave starts shaking like it's auditioning for a role in a disaster movie, and then, boom. The cave explodes, obliterating their entire camp. The soldiers, led by the brave officer Han Jiuyang, scramble to get their weapons ready, prepared to face whatever monster might emerge. But to their surprise, only Professor Yang and a few workers stumble out of the chaos. Talk about a plot twist. But not all is lost. Amidst the rubble, a new path has opened inside the mountain. Professor Yang decides to investigate further, and Yang Ping eagerly volunteers to join her dad. Hu Bai, feeling a surge of bravery, or maybe just a little bit of heroism, volunteers too. And naturally, Sung Sun tags along, not wanting to be left out of the adventure. The team enters the cave, following the newly discovered path. They climb down into a gigantic chasm, all the while noticing a peculiar butterfly-like creature flitting around them. But as they descend further, they reach an icy platform with yet another chasm. So, down they go again. Eventually, they find themselves in an unexplored cave filled to the brim with strange fossils. It's like a prehistoric museum, but without the gift shop. After wandering around, they discover an exit that leads them to a mountain on the opposite side. Here, Professor Yang shares a juicy tidbit. Legends say that somewhere in this area lies the gate to an ancient kingdom ruled by a secretive government. Sounds like a treasure hunt waiting to happen. Just as they're getting into the groove of their conversation, the other soldiers interrupt with an urgent discovery, a gigantic paw print in the snow. While Officer Han and the rest of the team work on installing a door at the mountain entrance, Professor Yang and his crew decide to follow the trail of paw prints to find the beast responsible. Spoiler alert, it's lurking nearby. However, instead of finding the giant creature they expected, they encounter the little flying guys from the cave. But wait, upon closer inspection, they realize these aren't butterflies, they're some really weird-looking bats. At first, nothing happens when one of the bats lands on a soldier's sleeve, but then one brave, or foolish soldier decides to catch one with his bare hands. Big mistake. He suddenly bursts into blue flames, and within moments, all that's left are his bones. Panic ensues as the bats swarm around them, and the soldiers start shooting to scare them off. Unfortunately, the chaos claims a few more lives to the mysterious blue flames. Just when they think it can't get worse, the giant beast they were after gets spooked and makes a hasty retreat, causing an avalanche. The party races down the mountain, desperately trying to escape the snow that threatens to swallow them whole. But just when they think they're safe, they come face to face with an abyss. It's a dramatic cliffhanger that leaves everyone on the edge of their seats, literally. With no options left, our brave adventurers stare into the abyss, and it's time to take the plunge, literally. But before they leap into the unknown, Professor Yang decides to play a little safety game and ties Hu Bai and his daughter Yang Ping together. Think of it as a buddy system gone rogue. They jump into the void, and their rope gets snagged on a piece of ice like a bad hair day. After a few awkward wiggles and a desperate side-to-side shimmy, the friction finally wins, and snap. The rope breaks, sending them plummeting down like a pair of clumsy skydivers. Months later, while snoozing on a train, Hu Bai still can't wrap his head around how he survived that fall, especially since several of their comrades met their doom by either cracking their heads or getting impaled by ice. Talk about a rough landing. When he finally awakens at the bottom of the abyss, he finds that only 4 party members are left: himself, Professor Yang, Yang Ping, and the ever-competitive Sung Sun. After a quick scavenger hunt for fallen supplies, the tiny team lights up some torches and ventures deeper into the cave. Soon, they stumble upon a massive cavern featuring a towering structure surrounded by crumbling ruins. Professor Yang excitedly declares it the sacred palace of Kunlun, a place that sounds like it should be in a fantasy novel. The tower supposedly has 9 levels where demon creatures have been sealed away, perfect for a horror movie marathon. In a moment of pure reverence, Professor Yang drops to his knees and lights a candle at an altar, summoning a freakishly tall flame that attracts a swarm of bats, casting an eerie red glow around the tower. Convinced that Hu Bai and Yang Ping can unlock the tower door, Professor Yang sends them in hand, like a couple on a romantic date gone wrong. To everyone's surprise, the door swings open, glowing with a mystical light that fills the room with spirits. It's like a supernatural rave. But just as things get exciting, Song Sun, clearly not a fan of opening the gates of the devil, snuffs out the candle. The cave starts to tremble as if it's having a panic attack, and the group scrambles to escape before they're buried under rocks or swarmed by bats, who are now in full-on chase mode. In a heroic moment of self-sacrifice, Song Sun decides to stick around as bait, facing the bats head-on. His bravery is short-lived though, as he's engulfed by the bat's blue fire, resulting in a spectacular explosion that takes out a chunk of the bat army. But alas, there are still plenty of bats left, and they're hot on the heels of the remaining trio, who manage to find an exit leading them to a precarious ledge behind a waterfall. Just when they think they're safe, the bats catch up, and Hubei tries to fend them off with a torch like a medieval knight. Unfortunately, he gets bitten, and a fire ignites on his shoulder. Yang Ping, in a moment of sheer panic and quick thinking, gives him a little nudge off the edge, sending him tumbling into the water below to extinguish the flames. She and her dad quickly follow suit, plunging into the icy depths. Underwater, Hubei and Yang Ping manage to find each other, but their reunion is short-lived, as a massive dinosaur-like creature suddenly swoops in, snatching Yang Ping right out of his grasp like a hungry toddler grabbing a cookie. Devastated, Hubei swims frantically, battling the freezing temperatures as he makes his way back to base, heart heavy and mind racing. What a wild ride. After the chaos, Hubei finds himself nursing a burn on his shoulder while Officer Han delivers the grim news. They've recovered all the bodies from the ill-fated expedition, except for Yang Ping and Professor Yang. Surprise, surprise. Who is the lone survivor? And he's had enough of this wild ride. He decides to ditch the whole adventure scene and head home, but on the train, he can't shake the feeling that his buddy Song Sun is still riding shotgun in his mind. Every time the illusion fades, he feels a little more disappointed. When he finally hops off at a quaint countryside station, he's greeted by Mr. Wang, his new employer, blissfully unaware that Officer Han and scientist Chen Dong are hot on his trail. It's now 1982, and Hubei starts his new gig at Mr. Wang's library, which sounds like a peaceful escape from his recent chaos. Lunchtime rolls around, and Mr. Wang takes him to a local restaurant where he is shocked to bump into his childhood friend, Wang Kaishuan, who's now an entertainer, who can't help but suspect Mr. Wang orchestrated this reunion. What a sneaky move, man. While shelving books at the library, who stumbles upon a tome filled with Professor Yang's research, complete with an illustration of the infamous Demon Tower. A light bulb goes off in his head, opening that tower has always been the professor's grand plan, and he must have known that Hu and Yang Ping were the key to making it happen. Meanwhile, at post 749, things are getting even weirder. They found a coffin containing a living woman who looks just like Yang Ping but introduces herself as Shirley. She's got some mysterious powers she can't quite control and zero memory of Yang Ping, so they decide to keep her under wraps for now. Back at the library, Hubei keeps receiving Professor Yang's books, each with specific pages marked just for him. With Kaishuan's encouragement, he becomes obsessed with these legends, diving deep into months of study. He learns about a humanoid race from the demon world whose ancestors hailed from Saturn. Yes, Saturn. They're the bizarre offspring of demons and humans, and the tower is their legacy. Apparently, there were supposed to be guards protecting the tower, but 10,000 years ago, this race vanished when humans finally broke free from demon control. But there are still nagging questions. Why can he and Yang Ping open the tower? What was the professor's real motivation? And who keeps sending him these books? Fast forward to 1985, and Officer Han gets a shocking update. Professor Yang has been found alive in a cave in the mountains. Meanwhile, in West China, Oil City is under siege by giant beasts that are wreaking havoc and leaving nothing but destruction in their wake. Professor Yang believes this chaos is a direct result of opening the tower, so he heads to investigate. As if things weren't strange enough, Hubei starts feeling a twinge in his shoulder scar, which suddenly flares up, igniting a fire on his back. In a wild twist, he discovers he's developed some powers of his own, causing every piece of furniture in the library to levitate like it's auditioning for a magic show. Mr. Wang strolls in, treating the whole thing like it's just another Tuesday, and explains that Hu's blood has been contaminated by a demonic force from the bat attack. This newfound power could either make him a superhero or drag him straight to hell, no pressure. Confused and a little freaked out, Hu decides to flex his new abilities and transforms the library into an ancient tomb, revealing that he's the protector of Prince Yi of the Solin Nation. In this wild and wacky adventure, it turns out there are protector spirits lurking around, just like those back at the tower, including the spirit of our buddy Song Sun. Mr. Wang, the library boss with all the answers, spills the tea. Prince Yi was Hubei's predecessor and the hero who led humanity against the tech-savvy demon race that had taken over Earth. Talk about a family legacy. Prince Yi used his own body to seal the tower, sending most demons packing, but a few crafty ones decided to hide out and even marry humans. Now, they want Hubei because, As a descendant, he's the only one who can pop the tower open and let the demons back in. Meanwhile, Officer Han is fuming over the loss of Professor Yang, but his mood does a complete 180 when he hears that Shirley has woken up and claims to have her memories back. She's ready to team up with Hubei to find her father. Han rushes to the library to recruit Hu, but our hero is having none of it. He's still traumatized by the last mission's body count. However, when he learns about Shirley, his heartstrings tug like a puppet on a string, and he quickly changes his mind. Mr. Wong warns him it's a terrible idea to get involved, especially since demons are gunning for him, but Hubei is determined to uncover how Yang Ping came back to life. Plus, with beast spirits attacking the prince's tomb, they need to tackle this mess at its source. So, Hubei and his trusty sidekick Wang Kaishuan set off for northern China, where they meet the team on a mission to find the professor, Chen Dong, a fierce woman named Chao Weiwei, a squad of soldiers, and, of course, Shirley. When Hubei sees Shirley again, he can't help but get all teary-eyed, but she's acting colder than an ice cream truck in winter, insisting on being called Shirley instead of Yang Ping. The team embarks on a camel caravan through the desert, and after a few days of peace, they suddenly find themselves in the middle of a sandstorm. They ride like the wind, trying to escape, blissfully unaware that the storm has stopped chasing them because they've crossed an invisible force shield that keeps the storm at bay as they enter the ruins of Oil City. Once they dismount in a safe area, they realize they've lost a few men in the chaos, including Wang Kaishuan. Meanwhile, the second group is still stranded in the desert without their camels, trying to reach a well they spotted in the distance. Suddenly, they're ambushed by a demon creature. They scatter like roaches when the lights come on, and one soldier meets a gruesome end. The rest make it to the well, only to find another demon waiting for them. This one isn't playing nice either, taking out all but Wang Kaishuan and his friend. They manage to find a bicycle, yes, a bicycle, and pedal their way into Oil City to reunite with the rest of the team, who have been exploring the ruins and finding nothing but skeletons and sad stories. Hubei is itching to leave and avoid another massacre like the last one, but Qindong and Shirley are determined to stay and finish their mission. Before they can argue about it, the demons find them, and it's time to gear up for a fight. They arm themselves and take a shot at the first beast, thinking they've taken it down, but when they turn around, surprise, the demon has vanished into thin air. While the team battles the beasts, Shirley makes a break for it and ducks into an abandoned school, with Hubei hot on her heels. Inside, he stumbles upon a horror show, bodies hanging from the ceiling in a hole in the ground that leads to an underground tunnel. He bravely ventures down the tunnel, which takes him straight to the prince's tomb. But wait, there's a demon waiting for him there too, and it gives him a good shove, knocking him around like a rag doll. Just when things are looking grim, Shirley swoops in like a superhero and tames the demon, sending it packing. What a twist! And we're here for every wild moment. In a dramatic twist of fate, Shirley uses her newfound powers to levitate Hubei's unconscious body into a coffin, slamming the lid shut like she's trying to win a game of hide-and-seek. Meanwhile, back in town, the demon party is just getting started. The team scrambles to the highest floors of nearby buildings, armed with silver bullets and rocket launchers, ready to take down the demon menace from a safe distance. They manage to hit a few, but most demons are dodging like they're in a high-stakes game of dodgeball, scaling the buildings to chase after our heroes. Chao Weiwei, ever the crafty one, cleverly disguises herself as a mannequin, blending in like a pro. But when the coast isn't clear, she dashes into a bus with Wang Kaishuan, trying to survive the relentless attacks from the demon that's been hot on her trail. Inside the coffin, Hubei starts to wake up, feeling a bit claustrophobic and desperate to escape. But wait, something magical is happening. His wounds are healing at lightning speed. Suddenly, Mr. Wang's spirit pops up to explain that the coffin is a magical artifact meant to help Princey come back to life. Just when Hubei thinks things can't get weirder, he finds himself tumbling through darkness and landing right in front of the tower. Here, he finally uncovers the truth about Yang Ping. The beast that snatched her brought her to the cave and threw her onto a flame, transforming her body into a vessel for the demon queen. Now, Shirley is calling the shots and unleashing chaos in town. After the beast scuttles off, Hubei approaches the tower to chat with the queen's spirit. She reveals that Yang Ping is also a descendant and could open the tower door, but she's not about to give up her cozy new home. The queen points out that if Hubei kills her, Yang Ping will go down with her. Talk about a catch-22. Hubei vows to find a way to save them both, which the queen finds amusing enough to send him back to town. Back in the chaos, Hubei spots the demon attacking the bus and quickly takes aim, freeing his friends just in time. But Qindong is dangling off the edge of a roof like a cartoon character about to fall. Demons are closing in, but Shirley needs Hubei to open the tower door, so she jumps in to protect him, hurling a car at the beasts like she's auditioning for a superhero movie. The remaining demons are still ready to rumble, and Qindong, in a moment of despair, is contemplating his own demise rather than letting a demon claim him. But in a moment of clarity, Hubei looks into Shirley's eyes and realizes he'll never get Yang Ping back. With a heavy heart, he shoots her 3 times, causing all the demons to disintegrate into dust and the tower to crumble like a poorly built sandcastle. As Shirley falls unconscious, she kisses Hubei, admitting he's the only one who can end her reign. In a flash, she transforms back into Yang Ping, and Hubei is left sobbing over her lifeless body. But wait, Yang Ping suddenly speaks, expressing her joy at seeing him one last time. Hubei, filled with hope, picks her up and takes her to Prince He's coffin, desperate to heal her. He lays down beside her, touching his forehead to hers, and suddenly he's flooded with her memories. He discovers that Yang Ping has had powers since childhood, including the incredible ability to bring beings back to life. However, her mother forbade her from using them, fearing the consequences. It wasn't until Yang Ping saw herself engulfed in blue flames that she realized her mother was a descendant of the demons who had taken human form and married regular folks. Now it all makes sense. This is why Professor Yang had been researching the tower his whole life. He hoped to save his daughter from the fate that awaited her. Back in the cave, Hubei learns the only reason they survived the fall was that Yang Ping had used her powers to revive them all. Before their connection fades, Yang Ping tells Hubei that she loves him and urges him not to give up on finding her father. With a heart full of determination, Hubei promises to honor her wish. As he leaves the desert on a camel with his team, they're ready to continue their search, all while a giant beast looms in the distance, watching their every move.